What is good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. My name is Paul and I do videos about sneakers and I do videos about Japanese society, life, and culture because I've lived in Japan for over 18 years now. So if either of those two topics are of interest to you, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, of course, today's video is about sneakers. That's because I have actually come up with 3 reasons to make a decision. 3 reasons why I am going to sell my Travis Scott Fragment Jordan 1 lows. I don't really want to, but I've gone through a thought process and I think I'm making the right decision. So without further ado, let's get into those reasons. Okay, just quickly, a disclaimer. This is not meant to be any form of advice. It's not meant to be any sort of recommendation for you on what you should do right now in the current market of whether you should buy or sell or do whatever with sneakers. Whether you are a sneaker reseller or you are a sneakerhead and just like collecting shoes. This is not advice. This is not a recommendation. This is just me sharing my thought process, why I'm selling these and why I'm selling these now. Okay, the first reason, with that disclaimer out of the way, the first reason is it's really selfish to keep them. I hit on these on the sneakers app, believe it or not. Back in August of 2021, I hit on sneakers and I paid the Japan price of about $180, so 18,000 yen. And at that point, they were worth 150,000 yen or $1,500. And I didn't make a decision back then. And I just loved the fact that I'd gotten the biggest sneakers win I'd ever had. These are and were then the most expensive shoe in my collection, and it was just cool having them, and I felt I didn't need to make any decision on them either way. But since that time, they have gone up basically 70,000 yen or $700 in price to $2,200 as they sit now in the Japan market, that is. That is an air ticket home to visit my family in the States. That is an amount of money that is far more beneficial to my family and my household than having a pair of really awesome sneakers on my feet. It's just, I couldn't put $2,000 shoes on my feet and be like, this is great, while that money could so much be used better for something else. Now, a lot of people say, well, you gotta have some luxuries in your life. You gotta have, some things that you put on, like, if you're a sneakerhead, you want other sneakerheads to notice, and this is definitely a pair that will do that. Don't worry, I have other shoes in my collection. Yes, they're not as expensive as these, but they're shoes I've already worn, and they're definitely shoes that I can wear for an occasion when I want people to notice what I've got on my feet. Alright, the second reason I've decided to sell these is basically from looking at the sneaker market right now. And I'm not talking about the greater sneaker market crash or sneaker market correction or whatever it is everyone on sneaker YouTube is calling it. I actually looked specifically at the sneaker market for other Travis Scott collaboration sneakers, and specifically the Jordan 1s. And while the most recent releases like the Air Maxes and Air Trainers have dropped in price, that's all shoes that have come out in the past 6 months or 5 months or so. Basically, the market has taken all newly released shoes down to nearly retail price or below retail price. Shoes like this that have been around a while, have been out a while, they basically have held their value, at least in Japan. The prices have not gone down on shoes like this. So what struck me when I looked at the other Travis Scott sneakers is that the OG pair, the brown mocha pair, both highs and the lows, they are sitting actually only at about $200 more than these, which to me says that, okay, I made a $700 increase in my value of these over the past year by holding on to them. The brown pair has been out considerably longer, and there's a lot less pairs available on the Japanese market right now, about a quarter to a third less. So the fact that I could hold on to these for another 2 years and maybe make $200 more in that time frame doesn't seem as worth it. I think they've kind of reached their ceiling. Of course, I could be completely wrong about that, but looking at the price of the OG pairs, it makes sense to sell these now, especially because I don't think they're going up $200 in the next 2 years. And that's actually my reason number 3. Reason number 3 is about the market. Not the sneaker market, but all of the markets. Basically the world economy, this recession, basically this problem time we are entering now. And I've watched other sneaker YouTubers talk about you shouldn't panic buy, you shouldn't panic sell, don't let emotion rule whether you're going to buy or sell sneakers at this time. And I agree with that entirely, except the sneaker YouTubers have been talking about how the market always comes back, and they've said things like 6 months to a year, which normally I think is the case. If you look at most recessions that have happened post World War II, they're usually about 6 months to a year in time in terms of how long they last. This one has energy and food as underlying problems. That strikes me as something that's going to be far, far worse. I mean, first of all, we've got the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and that means energy problems in Europe and subsequently all around the world. Germany especially, they're in trouble because they're not going to be able to get their Russian oil and gas. And that energy crisis in the States with rising gas prices, etc., it doesn't seem like the current administration has much in the way of answers for that either, and that's a problem. Food, the other part of this current issue or problem, food, Ukraine exported lots of food to other countries. That's not going to happen now. Russia is I think it was world number 1 in exports of fertilizer to other countries that need it for their crops. That's not going to happen. And so the food unrest like Sri Lanka, Denmark, and some other places that you've seen already is only going to get worse as food supplies dwindle and they're not replenished. Add on to that, we have some serious turmoil in China right now. If you haven't heard much about it, it's because the Chinese government is very, very good at keeping bad information internally from reaching the outside world. In fact, they're really good at keeping it from their own people. Basically, protests have broken out. People woke up unable to get their money from ATMs. The real estate market is crashing. The biggest real estate developers there are basically defaulting at the moment. It's a big mess. And again, you may not have heard of it because the information doesn't get out so easily. But long story short, in this economy, with the problems we have, I think we're in for a bit of hurt for a while. And there's enough possible bad tipping points along the way that could make it even worse. At the end of the day, it's like I can have $2,200 that will help out my family, could be used for an emergency, help with the rising costs of food, help with the rising costs of energy. Basically, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I'll take my money and run right now rather than worry about could I make a couple $100 more down the line. The way the economy's going, I'm not going to take that risk at the moment. It's not worth it for me to do so. Now, again, this is not meant to be advice. I could be wrong about the economy entirely. I hope I am, but that's just where I stand on things. For you, I hope that you take away from this video one thing, and that is have a thought process that you go through when it comes to whether you decide to buy or sell expensive luxury items. Try to avoid emotion when it comes to buying and selling. If I was going in purely on emotion, I would be keeping these because I love them. They're awesome. I would love to be able to wear them at least one time. But as it is, I am selling them, and that is the decision I have made. So let me know in the comments below, am I a complete idiot for selling them, or am I making the right decision and I'm a genius for selling them? I guess time will really tell which, but for now, what is your opinion on the matter? Let us know in the comments below. And really, if you got anything worthwhile out of this video, please hit that like button. Again, subscribe if this content is interesting to you, sneakers or talking about life in Japan. Either way, I'd love to have you back. But anyways, thank you for watching this particular video, and I will catch you next time. Peace.